You are now tuned in to the Believe Network. Do you believe?
Welcome to Sugar-Coated Murder Podcast, a brilliant true crime podcast hosted by two zany sisters, all while baking up delicious treats in their kitchen. Here are your podcast hosts, Karen Devaney and Ann Varner.
Hey y'all, it's Karen. I just wanted to let you know that I've been down and out this week with the South Carolina Crud, and so because we couldn't get an episode recorded this week, we asked our friends at Casting Views if we could borrow the episode from when we were guests. We hope you enjoy our guest spot on Casting Views. It's a great British podcast. I hope you all tune into them. Find them on Apple, Spotify. They're awesome guys, and we had a lot of fun with them. We hope you have fun listening. Love y'all.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Casting Views, a podcast where we talk about, well, pretty much anything that might interest us. I'm Lou and I'm here with...
Me, Dan.
Now, this is week 4 of Food Month. I'm glad that we got that right. Because, it's the first time we've got it right this month. And this is our final week. And we do have some very, very special guests with us this week. But before we get into it, I'm going to pass over to Dan, who's going to do a promo for some of our friends.
Yes, cheers, Luke. Another friend of the show today is going to be Leo over at Voluntary Input. If you haven't heard his podcast, change that now and go listen to it. He's great, really nice guy for a start. But his podcast will take you from 1 week, it'll be about gaming or tech. And at time of recording, the last episode was called Being Man Enough. And he's got an ex-exotic dancer talking about the pressures of being a man. So kind of, that's what I'm saying, how random or diverse his subjects are. So let's hear from him now.
Are you a nerd? Are you a person? Then check out Voluntary Input, where we not only have open discussions about tech, TV, movies, and gaming, but also open discussions about people, and sometimes with the people behind the tech. Catch new episodes with me, Leo Allen, bi-weekly on Tuesdays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Good Pods, and pretty much everywhere else you listen to podcasts. And be sure to check out videos of every episode on YouTube and Twitch. Simply go to voluntaryinput.com to find all the ways you can listen to us, contact us, and better yet, select register as a guest to be a guest on the show, because we are always looking for great guests like you.
Never forced, never coerced. Welcome to Voluntary Input.
And we're back.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
Now, this is a very special episode because we have some very special guests. And we have two lovely ladies by the name of Karen and Ann from the Sugar-Coated Murder Podcast.
Welcome.
I'm hoping that was all right. I feel like it's always deep south when you ever ask a British person to do an American accent. Now, and anybody wondering and listening to this might wonder why we've got a true crime podcast on Food Month with us this month. So I'm going to let Karen and Ann probably cut into why they're appropriate for Food Month, because alongside true crime, you have a relatively nice quirk in what goes along with it.
Yes. So we also do baking on our podcast while we talk about true crime. So it is a little quirky. I'm not sure which the quirk is, though. I don't know if it's the baking or the true crime that's the quirk. It could be either. We're very quirky anyway. So it really fits for us. But that's what we do. We bake up things in the kitchen. And when we do that, we talk about some really horrible true crime stuff. It works.
I feel like it's a nice spin because you've got true crime, and then how can that be balanced out cupcakes or something? Like it's a nice mix of the good and the bad, yeah.
And again, kind of just to give you a bit of a big up, as they say. Again, at time of recording, you've released 101 episodes now, haven't you? I mean,
We
what a
have.
milestone. I mean,
How
congratulations
crazy.
on that. That's
They never
amazing.
saw that coming.
Luke,
That a lot of dedication to episodes. We're so far off that milestone. It's unbelievable.
It'll be here before you know it. And you'll be like, what? So, yeah, we've been putting in the work.
But yeah, oh god, no, I'll let Dan go first.
So I was going to ask, how did it come about, the podcast? So did you think I'm going to do a baking podcast, or did you think do true crime podcast, or did you from the start think you were going to mix the two? How did that happen?
Oh, well, we thought, we didn't think of any of it. To be honest with you, we had a friend that approached us we were at a medium psychic reading with a whole bunch of people. And the psychic medium is a friend of ours. And afterward, it was close to Halloween, and we were telling some stories about true crime that had happened in our very, very small little town. And she said, you girls need to do a podcast. And we were like, all right, we could do a podcast. And she said, and you need to incorporate your baking, because everywhere we go, we're in the South. You take something. You have to take food with you when you go.
Yes.
And everybody seems to really enjoy our baking. And she said, you have to somehow incorporate this baking. So Karen went out and found us a
$20 microphone off of Amazon, and I Googled how to podcast.
And that's how it started.
I had never even listened to a podcast. I don't think Ann had either. So we were just like, what is this? So it was interesting. It was interesting. We started listening to some true crime podcasts. So we got the feel for it's okay to talk about horrible, gory things. And then, we were just like, let's throw that baking part in, because that's something that we're good at. So that's just kind of that's how it came up. We really didn't think this was going anywhere. We thought 10 episodes, we'll just put those out there. It'll be a real laugh. Our family will listen, or maybe not. And then we'll be done. And then 101 episodes later, we're still doing it. And we've gotten such great feedback from it that we haven't stopped yet.
And we're sisters. If people don't know, Karen and I are sisters. So we've got the sister banter that kind of goes back and forth as well. So I know it's a very gory topic, but there is a great deal of humor, because we'll get the story wrong, or
we always massacre the names, and that's a pun intended. And so,
we really are not good with the names at all.
We are hard. If it's not Smith or Jones, we're done. We're gonna mess it up.
But we're honest. We tell people before we even say the name, I'm going to butcher this name.
Up. Yeah. And because we're sisters, our mom is our biggest fan. She listens to every episode. As soon as it drops, we have to send her her own personal link to the episode. But she stays after us. And I know you can't tell looking at our beautiful faces, but we're both in our 50 bubble. And so our mom still calls us when we say bad words and tells us that she didn't raise us to say bad words.
Yes.
So now before we cuss, we always say, sorry, mama, but then we still let the word fly. So
we figure we're good as long as we apologize up front.
Yes.
Oh, and Lou, and I think you said your mum said that you have to behave because the British are really refined, but
yes,
I know. I feel like we break that mold entirely. It's terrible. We're really doing a disservice, aren't we? At this
Don't
point?
worry, when we're done with them, you won't recognize the British.
I said, we've walked right out of Downton Abbey, haven't we, you and I? So.
Can I just say as well, the name is absolutely brilliant. I've been telling my girlfriend, my mum, I've been like, the name, it was just genius. I was just like, it could. We sat and we took about 6 weeks just to come up with casting views.
Well, I got to tell you, we had a list. We just had like a huge list, and we would just say them out loud to each other. And that one really just stuck. I mean, we had some really dumb ones, believe me. But I think cupcakes and killers. And I don't want to tell too much. I don't want somebody to steal it.
Your spin-off pod,
So, we just that one it felt right. I don't know. It worked. It worked. So we were really proud.
Did you always have a passion? Where did the kind of passion for the true crime stuff come from then, or start then, kind of originate from?
All right, so I'm going to answer that question. So we are from a very small town in Virginia, very small. I think the biggest it's been is maybe 8,000 people, and that's very it's a rural town. Our dad was the pharmacist in the town. Like it was, it's very small. And in this little town, believe it or not, there were a lot of murders that happened. And the crazy part is we knew the murderers.
Oh,
We
wow.
did not. You didn't expect that, did you?
My dad was the pharmacist. The murderers lived next door.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it kind of went that way.
Yeah.
So for us, I mean, even when Anne was little, our mom witnessed a man that she and Anne were walking down the street. If you can just picture this little town, and they're walking down a sidewalk and near my dad's pharmacy, and this man comes around the corner with a gun in his hand and walks past the sewage and dumps it into and puts it in the sewer and keeps walking. And my mom witnessed that.
What's a drainage ditch?
A drainage.
Let's don't call it a sewer because then they're going to think we're dirty.
Oh,
We
yeah.
lived in some sewer now. We're going to call it a drainage.
It was an aqueduct.
Breaking news. Americans don't have drains.
So the guy had just murdered his wife and her boyfriend. They were in a car together behind this bank, and he had just shot the two of them point blank and murdered them and was walking away and threw the gun away. So my mom had to go and testify at that trial because she witnessed him getting rid of the gun.
I was 9.
And
when
Anne
it
was
happened.
9 years old.
Wow.
So we can remember our mom being really nervous about going and testifying. And this guy, was threatening to kill her because she was a key witness. And I think she was trying to figure out.
She wanted to go incognito to court, but
she wanted to go in a disguise, but they wouldn't let her. So, yes, I mean, that's a very early introduction into the world of crime. And then when I was in high school, and we do cover this case on our podcast, when I was a junior in high school, it was near the end of school, so we were getting out for summer, and this really good friend of mine and I were supposed to go study one afternoon, and I canceled because I wanted to go sunbathe because that's where my priorities were, not geometry exams, but sunbathing. And that very afternoon.
So with that, you were in, what grade were you in?
I was in 11th grade.
So that would be
Level
11.
Level 11.
Year 11. Is that what you
Year
call it?
11.
Yeah, that's what we call it. Yeah.
We're trying to be like y'all. Except for the y'all part. Anyway, that afternoon, he actually murdered a woman that was a mail carrier, and she had turned into his driveway to turn around, and he jumped in her car with a huge knife and was making her drive down this dirt road, and he actually stabbed her over 60 times and slit her throat.
Wow.
And I was in a class of 40 people. So everybody knew each other. We were all good friends. We had all known each other for years. And to me, it was so unimaginable that somebody that I knew and really thought was my friend was this horrible monster. And once that happened, we started finding out all these other things that he had done that we had never been told about. Mm-hmm. And for me, that started a fascination with the whole psyche of a killer. Like, how can you be one person and then be this other horrible monster at the same time? So that's kind of how it started.
And so she would talk to me about those things.
Yeah, and she was 4 years younger than me, so I scared the Jesus out of her.
So the fascination kind of came between the both of us. And then just after I went to my first year of college, another family acquaintance of ours murdered a classmate with another guy. And that murder went unsolved for like 2.5 years until he actually confessed. It probably would not be solved today if he had not come forward and confessed.
Wow. Yeah.
So we have had so many.
I'm telling you, we've covered all of our hometown murders. That's just two, but we've covered all of them on our podcast on different episodes.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. I mean, the murder, it's like, I mean, the town is very nice.
I was going to say, we were talking about coming to visit.
Well, we're not there now.
We don't live there. We did leave. We left. We were like, it's just a numbers game. Eventually, you're either going to be the murderer or the murdered. But I was
trying to get out.
I was not playing those numbers for very long. So I got out of there. But so that's where we got our obsession with true crime.
So have you? Well, I was going to say as well. So do you have an obsession with it in general? So do you watch all the crime shows as well? Do you watch all the dramas and the real life shows? Are you into all that as well?
Oh my! I am an ID discovery junkie.
I am not.
I am. I love true crime. I watch a lot of the Netflix documentaries, but I don't like the cases, the big televised cases that everybody knows about, like the Ted Bundys and stuff like that. I like the small towns where it's like you would never expect that person murdered that other person.
Yeah.
And that's my obsession. And I think it just comes from, my background. So, but that's kind of what I obsess about is.
And I'm more obsessed with baking shows. If there's a baking show out there, I'm going to watch it.
It is true. It is so true. She's more I watch the baking shows, but not like she does. She tells me which ones to watch.
Right.
So, it's kind of like us though. Like Lou, for a while at the start, you were always talking about the darker sort of stuff in our podcast, and I want the light and fluffy stuff.
Yeah, dark, depressing, pessimistic. And then Dan would be like, "Yeah, but the world's not that bad." I'd be like, "Yes, it is."
Yes, it is. It's full of murderers. It's awful.
And actually, sort of pun intended as well. You have got a killer tagline, haven't you? So do you want to say that?
Yes. We say stay sweet and don't murder.
Because if you kill people, we will talk about you.
Brilliant. We've heard it live.
Yeah, and we have a new one that we've kind of been taking out for a spin that says, come for the baking, stay for the murder. So, and on our podcast, we do drink a little bit. So I think that it's only proper for Ann and I to show you what will be in our teacups today.
Here we go.
You go. You can't see this, but they've got a beautiful teapot. Yeah.
Bloody Marys. We're drinking Bloody Marys because I know Bloody Mary was a queen. I don't know a queen of what, but she was queen of something. So, here's my spot of queen.
Cheers.
I've actually got a nice. It put me to shame. I've got a nice chamomile tea going here. So,
well, I'm very sorry because we're drinking Bloody Marys.
We're drinking spicy Bloody Marys.
Ooh, it's very spicy.
Lou, we need to keep this pod going as long as we can. I think they need to.
Oh, don't worry. I'm not good at sipping drinks. I'm a guzzler, so you'll see me pouring a couple to her one. I'll drink 3, and then I won't be able to get any of my words right.
Yeah, maybe don't let your mom listen to this one.
Don't let your mom.
I said mom.
Did you say mom?
I did,
yeah,
mom.
because it's you call your mom's mum.
Mum. That's the one. Mum.
Okay, there you go.
Listen, we have been hard at work preparing for this.
First of all, this morning I baked proper tea biscuits. They're square, and they are.
They look
I don't
lovely,
know if
actually.
you've heard of the show called Ted Lasso.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it yet.
So he's this American guy that's been hired to go over to England and coach a soccer team, which is football over there.
Yep, football.
And he knows nothing about the sport at all. And he's really learning about like just the whole culture over there is so different. And he tries to befriend the owner of the team. And the way he really gets under her skin is he takes these very special biscuits to her every morning. And she's like, where'd you get them? He's like, don't worry about it. And he brings them every morning, but he will not say where they came from. And Anne was able to Google and get the recipe for those biscuits. And that's what these are.
Because we were going to try one of your biscuits, but do you want to tell me why do you have digestives there? What is that?
What is a digestive?
You know what, as well? I remember someone turning around and saying, is it a digestive because it does something to like your colon and like, does it clear you out or something like that?
Fiber.
Maybe.
If I'm being honest, digestives dunked in tea are just a brilliant thing, to be fair. Like, that's a staple. But you've got to be really careful because you don't want it to be too soggy. It drops in and then you're fiddling with the spoon to get it out and then it gets all mushy at the bottom of the cup.
And then you're not proper.
Yeah, exactly. It's
And then you get your British card revoked.
Yeah. The digestive, Lou, is your all-round biscuit, really, isn't it? So if you've got someone working on your house, you've got like somebody coming in to repair something, you give them a digestive. Equally, if you've got people around, you could give them a digestive.
Really?
It sounds like you're really interested in everybody's intestinal health.
Yes, very fun.
well, my favourite ones are the chocolate-covered ones. Those are the ones you want. So,
they are chocolate digestive.
Anne went to the British section of the grocery store and she found some British cookies. We have these chocolate creams.
Oh, they bought like Bourbons.
Are they Bourbons? Are they like
I think they're Bourbons.
Rectangular? Are they? Yeah, I think they are.
Yes,
I love those. I love
they're
those.
Brilliant. They're elite. And custard creams.
Yes. These are custard creams.
Oh,
look
custard
at
creams.
this.
Yeah, this is amazing.
I've got nothing here.
Shorties.
Oh, short. Yeah.
We have ginger nuts, and I got a
question. Oh my god, I love those. I love those.
There are nuts in ginger nuts.
It's a root. I read the ingredients, and I was like, there is not one nut found in this entire cookie. And ginger is not a nut; it's a root. So, what is a ginger nut?
Do you know what, Lou? I actually don't know. It's just always.
I mean, it was always like the butt of jokes and that sort of thing, wasn't it? Like a ginger nut just for the sake of. But yeah, I couldn't tell you why for some reason.
I just eat them.
It's okay. It's okay. We're way more concerned about your turkey Twizzlers.
Oh my god!
Anything else?
Oh my god! Turkey Twizzlers are amazing.
No, you should not be twisting your meat.
Americans don't twist their meat around things. Like, we don't do that here. That's not okay.
It's like a curly fry but made of turkey, basically.
That doesn't make sense to me.
34% turkey.
Hold on, Lou. I'm going to throw something back at them. They're talking about the outrage of Turkey Twizzler. They are from the home of the diving in the grits, the rolling in the grits contest.
Oh, yeah. This is true. Yeah. Hang on a minute. Yeah.
Exactly right. And the record for that was set right before COVID, and that was 60 pounds of grits that this woman got in her clothes.
Unbelievable. It
is unbelievable.
As well, I just feel like the cost and expense of practicing that must be nuts. Like, imagine if we did it here, we'd do it with beans probably, wouldn't we?
Yeah, baked beans.
Beans. Yeah.
I think that would be that. I don't think they practice. I just think it's that one time a year they just go for it. They probably have a little drink of liquid courage and they dive right in and see what happens. That's the only thing I can think of, because I don't know how you would practice that.
But we mentioned it with Brendan last week. Is grits kind of like a staple?
In the South, it definitely is.
Yeah.
It is in the South.
You'd have it with your main meal, right? It's a main meal kind of accompaniment.
It is. It's really a breakfast.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Item for us, but they do, we do have other things like shrimp and grits for dinner and stuff like that. But for us growing up, grits was part of the breakfast meal. And we don't believe in putting sugar in grits. That's godlessness.
We don't do that. No, we don't do that. Americans do it.
I mean, I know some Americans do. I don't think Southerners do. I know that they put garlic in there. They put cheese in there. I'm a purist. I like butter, salt, and pepper because the grits are really just the main vehicle to get the butter into my mouth. It's just another
one more thing you can put butter on.
It's just one more thing you can put butter on, and then you just put it in your mouth. And if you don't feel like having an American biscuit, not an English biscuit, then, if you're not in the mood for a biscuit, then you still need your butter. So you just put it in the grits and you put the grits in your mouth. So it still works.
You've reminded me, sorry, Lou, I was just going to say, because something I forgot with Brendan, the biscuit, that confuses me. So that isn't like a bread roll, is it? Is it like it's almost like, is it a savoury scone?
Yeah, I think it's a scone.
So your scones are kind of like a cross for us between a biscuit and a muffin.
Okay.
Our biscuits have they're layered, buttery layers of biscuits, but not all of them. So it's a bread. It's definitely a bread more than it's like a scone. I think it's more cookie-ish or cake-ish, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit cakier than a biscuit.
Yeah,
but you're just going to have to come over and try it.
Come over and have
definitely
biscuits and grits with us.
You're just going to want to drink lots of water and take some sort of blood pressure medication, because we're probably going to throw a piece of country ham on it, which is nothing but salt.
It's just salt. Ham
soaked in salt.
Yeah. So have you ever heard of red eye gravy?
No, never heard of that.
Okay, so it's a ham. So you take your country ham, and that's not typical like on the street ham. Country ham is definitely it's not just ham off the street. This is like a real staple in a Southern house, but it's very, very salty. And you take that and you fry that in, of course, butter. And then you take your ham out into those, what we call drippings. I don't know what you would call those over there, but it's the stuff left in the pan.
Okay,
you add strong black coffee. And then it makes it's called red eye gravy and I used to think it's because it was red, but I thought all the people that made it for me didn't get it right because it was never red. It's like a really dark brown, and it's red eye gravy to wake you up.
Right.
Yes, I have heard of it now. I have.
Yes.
You've reminded me now.
I
Yeah.
could use a little more.
Oh, pardon me.
Excuse me, please. I need a refill.
I love that. Look at that.
I love how the pinky finger's coming up as well for anybody listening to this. It's amazing.
You haven't lived, I think, unless you've drunk alcohol out of a teapot. This is superb.
Do you know what the funny thing is as well? It's like, that's not the strangest thing that I've seen people drink stuff out of. So when you go to university here, obviously drinking culture is just a big thing. Really, you don't go to university here to study. You go to drink. That's just what you do.
Yeah.
And people will just find any way to not use a glass because glasses get lost somehow at university. So you see people drinking from plastic cups, like some Tupperware or something like that. It's like those plastic containers. Anything they can find to drink out of, they will.
I love it.
I love it. So Ann and I took an improv class. If you can imagine, those poor people will never be the same. We took it together. And the night we had to perform, we had like a little recital at the end, which was completely unnerving because I didn't sign up for that. I signed up to just go have some fun and then walk away. But they wanted us to perform. So that night, Ann and I felt like we couldn't do that without a little bit of liquid courage. So Ann put into her Tupperware containers some bourbon. We were sitting in the parking lot drinking bourbon out of the Tupperware containers before we went for improv. We couldn't help ourselves.
Unbelievable.
Well, you know what? Funnily enough, along the theme of sneaking alcohol, I saw someone on TikTok who was, I say, a Capri Sun, I think is the way that you would say it.
Capri.
Capri Sun. And
we did that because we listened to y'all say Capri Sun, and we were rolling on the floor. I was like, what is a Capri Sun? And then I thought it was like a man named Capri and had a son. I was like, oh my God. But then, no, it was a Capri Sun. So, yeah, you're doing good.
See, I'm getting there. Wasn't it last week where I had the issue with ranch dressing?
Oh yeah, ranch.
It's ranch. Sorry. And what they did is they'd sliced the top of the Capri Sun off, and they'd filled it with rum, and then put an iron over it and ironed it together so that it was completely sealed. I was like, "That's amazing! You're going to a concert or something?"
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow.
I love that idea.
I do too.
I would not put any Capri Sun in there because I think that's horrible tasting stuff.
Right. No, you empty the
Just Capri Sun. You just have like what's left in the lining as like a little spritz.
Exactly.
Right. I like that.
The capacity for the human brain to do things that you shouldn't do is unrivaled. There was there's stories from years ago. The soccer fans, the football fans over on the continent would always be trying to sneak in fireworks or firecrackers and things like that. They were illegal. So what they were doing, because they'd be searched at the gate, they would put them into sandwiches. They would make sandwiches and put like the firecrackers in the bread. And that's the thing. It's like just people.
That's crazy.
Yeah. You probably put someone at a desk to do a day's work and they probably just do about 60, 70%. But you say to them, you can't bring this drink in, and they will work overtime to work out how they're going to get that drink in.
So over here, we have bracelets for women that look like a really pretty gold bracelet, and then there's a jewel on the top. But if you unscrew that jewel, the whole thing is hollow, and you can just drink right out of it. It's amazing.
They need like a male equivalent that looks like a watch or something.
Exactly.
I feel like I'd buy into that as well.
Yeah, but you'd have about 10 watches on your wrist and not
all the batteries are dead. I know. I'm not sure. You've got different time zones.
Yeah, this is Eastern time. This is Pacific time.
That's so funny. So, do you want to perform?
Oh God,
we have a performance for you guys, real quick.
Go for it. Let's hear it.
Get this going for you real quick. Because
do you have the music?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
We have a little
music and
a
all
little
sorts.
ditty. We have a little ditty for y'all.
I feel embarrassed,
We're
Lou.
just trying to make y'all proud. We want y'all to be our friends forever.
You ready?
Yeah, ready? Make sure it's loud.
Here we go. Not yet. Not yet.
I didn't wait.
Not yet. Nope, not yet. Okay.
Ready? Oh, God save our gracious queen. Long live our noble queen. God save the queen. Send her victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the queen.
Bravo. Right, Lou, you prepared the American one, right, Lou? That's
like frantically Googling. You know what? That
was really good.
That was brilliant. That also brings up a really good point, because we were talking last week about like some food stereotypes, but this is different because this was national anthem. One thing that I feel like you see on TV all the time is if there's anything that's in a school, it's always kids lined up to a flag in the morning, national anthem. Is that really what happens every kind of morning in schools, or is that just televised?
Not anymore. It used to when we were growing up, yes. Every morning you stood, you said the Pledge of Allegiance, and then you sang the national anthem.
And you faced the flag wherever it was hanging in your classroom with your hand over your heart, and that's what you did. But they don't do that anymore. It's too much controversy. So they don't do it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at our school, we went to a private school, and we actually had a daily devotional, like a prayer that was said over the intercom system as
Lord
well.
knows we needed it.
You know, they actually let me say some of that.
I know.
That was crazy. Like, what were they thinking? They let me do the daily devotional. Like, come on, guys. I don't believe any of this stuff.
But when you were at school, it's a good thing. They were bound to let you do it. You're the only one that wasn't a murderer.
That's right. Well, it's very true. And they knew I probably had the propensity to become one, so they wanted to be nice to me.
Maybe we can save her.
Or just save themselves. I think they were just trying to save themselves. So, yeah. But
I think there's some schools that probably still do it, maybe somewhere, but most of them, no, not anymore. It's too much controversy over our national anthem.
yeah, we got a lot of controversy there. So
Yeah, because
I don't know how y'all get away with it.
we don't know how y'all get away with half the stuff that y'all get away with over there.
Well, no, but that's the thing, and you know, Lou, that's a good point, because we never have done it over here. That not the American anthem, the British one. We've never kind of done that, and we've always looked at that, and I think the reaction has either been, "Oh my God, why are they doing that?" or "Oh look, you know, they must be really proud of their country," and so it's always seemed slightly odd is probably the wrong word, but unusual that happened.
But the thing is as well, I think if you put it in a different context, like I went to a Catholic school when I was from the ages of 11 to 18, and we used to have like a daily school prayer that you'd say. Yeah. So in the same context, it's kind of like that, but obviously it was just religion based as opposed to kind of anything that was like nationality wise, if that makes sense. But I guess it's the same kind of principle and context, really, isn't it?
I think so. I think it was trying to just maybe deliver a certain message of being a good citizen, just reminding people, be a good citizen. Maybe it was just, they should have just started out with said, listen, good morning, don't murder.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
They should just say that every day, like in kindergarten.
Like do your best and try really hard not to murder. And if you can do that, then you're on your way.
Yeah. And then we'll consider you a good citizen.
Maybe we should start a school.
I think we should start a school.
Yeah,
but you have to remember, if everybody lived by that message, it'd just be sugar coated.
Yeah,
that's true. We would have nothing to talk about.
No, I would love the sugar coated. I would love that.
I know you would.
But I mean, the people out there are scary. There are people out there doing horrible things to each other.
It's scary.
Actually, do you know what? There is nothing truer said on this podcast. People out there are scary. I think that's true.
Every time we go anywhere, we're like, why do we come out into the public? We don't like people. They scare us. We don't like them.
Actually, on that, Have there been any cases you've covered that have really stayed with you more than others?
I think so.
I think anytime you cover a serial killer, it really sticks with me because the victims are so random, yet they're hunted. And to me, it's something very disturbing about unknowingly being hunted.
Yeah.
By a person who is just diabolical, and they just get their jollies. I mean, it's it's never an excuse. Okay, let me preface this. Don't murder. Okay, there's never, I'm going to need a little more. More Bloody Mary. Thank you. And so I think that it's one thing to have a crime of passion, or when like a husband and a wife and they hate each other and one kills the other one for life insurance. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm saying it's a different breed of person than somebody that singles out another person that they don't even know, and they hunt them because of some quality that they see in them that the other person has no clue. That to me is so creepy.
Yeah, it is very
That's
creepy.
a big creepy factory.
And do you know what?
That's a creepy factory.
We live in a creepy factory. That's what America is right now.
and on your current, I think it's your current podcast, you said something that I hadn't even thought of before. And it was, you talk about serial killers and you say that you don't like them as well because often they are, the victims of a serial killer often aren't mentioned, or they're almost secondary to, they're almost glamorized, for want of a better word.
Yes.
If a serial killer.
Yes. And that's one thing that when we started this podcast, that we made an agreement that we would never, ever try to glamorize the act of murder in any way. And I think that's one of the reasons that we stay away from these high profile cases, because it becomes this media circus about the person that did it and not about the victims, and not just the victims, but we've seen the generational ripple that it causes. The murder isn't just about the one victim. There's so many victims. When there's just one person killed, the victims are their families, their friends, their coworkers, their town.
And it's generations.
And it's a generational thing that goes on through their generations of those people. And I think, I think that we're living proof of that for sure, because one murder in our town and it sent a ripple effect. And so I think that that's one of the reasons that we really don't like serial killers. I mean, we don't like them because they kill, but we really don't like them because they get a lot of attention. And we don't like that. That's why we include the name of our victims and not the name of our killers in our titles most of the time. I mean, like Anne just covered in our 101 episode, the serial killer, the dating game serial killer, but there were 200 victims and we couldn't list them all because Apple won't let us list all of them. So we just put him in there as part of the title, but normally it's the victim's last name that we put in there as part of the title.
Right.
And Anne, as I was going to say, as the Dan of your podcast, the lighter side of the baker, is there one that particularly kind of affected you or stuck with you in terms of?
Oh, yeah, there are a couple. One of them we covered, two of them that we covered here that were in the Charleston area. One of them was a woman who was going through a really bad divorce, and her parents had come and stayed with her. Her husband, she had a restraining order against her husband, and he broke into their house and killed her mother because the lady was out, but the visiting mother was sleeping in her bedroom. So he thought he was killing his ex-wife, but he killed his mother-in-law. And then he escaped, and police came in and searched the whole house. The family went into protective custody, and the police were supposed to really do a once-over on the house to make sure it was safe for them to go back in. They gave them the all clear. They had the mother's funeral. The family goes back. They're sitting in the kitchen after the funeral talking about everything that's happened. And this jerk had been hiding in the freaking attic under the insulation and shot her through the vent in the ceiling above the kitchen table. Wow. I'm getting chills just talking about that one. That is so unsettling.
Well, the fact that he had lived there for 3 days.
3 days.
And you know what? That man had pooped and peed in that attic. And you know he did because he was up there for 3 days. He had food with him. That's gross.
Sorry, mums. Sorry, moms. That's gross. I know, but that's in England.
It's improper to talk about bathroom things.
Right,
I'm just saying he had bathroom issues up in that, and like that's not only is it scary, but it's really gross.
Yeah.
But the police didn't check the attic. One of the police officers stuck his head up, looked around, and said, "Oh, he's not going to be in the attic." But he sure was.
Under the insulation, too. I mean, that's really a commitment because that's itchy.
It is.
Yeah.
3 days. So that one was unsettling. And then we had another one that we covered where a woman, she was a French teacher for a private school here. She had been dating a gentleman and they broke it off and went their separate ways. And somehow his son became obsessed, fascinated with this woman and wanted to be her. Wanted to go through the whole sex change process and everything, but take over her identity. And he murdered her, but he had all of his, like he took over her, he changed his driver's license to her address. He got his mail forwarded there. He was having his hormone therapy drugs shipped to her house. I mean, he murdered her and then took over her home before
he was wearing her clothes and everything.
Oh, that was... Ooh. I don't like that.
Yeah,
that kind of is like real life Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of like levels. That's horror movie level.
Right. And
scary,
speaking of horror movies, guys, just so you know, Ann and I are the biggest chickens.
Oh God, no, we don't watch
horror movies. No. We don't watch that scary stuff.
No.
But you do this kind of podcast. That's...
No, we don't. We don't. That's why I don't like to watch the ID Discovery stuff. It's too scary.
Yeah. It's not too scary for me. I can't watch it at night. And I can watch it when the sun's up.
I can't remember what podcast we'd done where I turned around and said I need to go and watch some Kevin Hart because he's, I think, the only person that's going to make me settled before I go to bed now.
Well, we have.
I do a lot of cleansing with Friends, old reruns of Friends. That's what cleansing.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know what? Again, leading me on something. We cannot tell you. There's a channel that just plays Friends all day here, every day for the last 20 years. It's amazing, and that's always good for a laugh and keeping you chilled out as well.
But this whole thing about at night. As a kid, I remember there was this program called Crime Watch, and it was half hour, it was once a week, and it would profile some current crimes that basically they were trying to catch certain criminals. So they would do reconstructions of crimes and say, and at the end, they would always say, "Don't have nightmares." And me as a kid, I'm just sitting there shaking at the TV, and it's like,
don't have nightmares.
Yeah,
don't have a nightmare.
Yeah, that's how they finished it. It was "Don't have nightmares." It's like, yeah, thank you. Okay,
you know what?
I won't.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah.
They always used to put like those police computer generated images or like the drawings up as well, and you'd be like, "I swear I've seen that man in my area."
Or the next day you're like, "Oh, is that him? Is that him? Is that him?" Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've got one called what's the John Walsh one?
Oh, right. America's Most Wanted.
Yeah,
or
America's
something.
Most Wanted. That's kind of the same thing. They profile these high profile killers that are on like the FBI's Most Wanted list and things like that. And it's scary to think, oh my gosh, and they've caught a lot of them because of neighbors that have called and said, "Hey, that guy's my neighbor."
Oh God.
So.
Well, you know what as well, talking about Crime Watch, because it's just reminded me, I would probably say one of the most famous unsolved murders in this country was probably Jill Dando.
Yeah.
And she actually was a host of Crime Watch. She was shot on her doorstep. Wasn't she? She was shot on her doorstep. Yeah. Unknown assailant, completely and still unsolved. Now, I think someone ended up going to prison and then was released because there wasn't enough evidence to charge him. But again, the kind of conspiracy theories rumoured around as to whether or not it was linked based on the show that she did, whether or not it was linked to organised crime, that sort of thing. Really, really strange case. And again, nothing ever came from it because it's still unsolved now.
Yeah, I think the guy won his appeal, Yeah, there you go.
As Americans, we will dedicate ourselves to solving it.
We're not doing that. No. We're good. We're not
I'll solve it. You and me will solve it. These two make cupcakes, and you and I will solve this case.
But do you think that's why? And you know, and I love what I like is I do love the idea of the solving of the crime, the people behind the thought and the processes that go into solving the crime. And do you think that's why kind of true crime is so popular and sought after because there's two elements there. There's the, like you said, people who on the face of it, they're your friend, they're your next door neighbor, they're the person that works in the chemist down the road. But then on the other hand, they are these psychos and you don't know. And then on the flip side, you've got the whole to catch a killer kind of thing. Is that what you think is crime is so popular?
Fascinating.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is, especially now with all of the genealogy that's come out. It is fascinating to watch detectives and investigators solve these crimes, where I know there've been a couple of cases where they've had botanists come in and look at the way plants grow to figure out what happened in a crime. I mean, that is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
You can look at the way a plant is growing in a crime scene and say, okay, well, this is probably where the body is. That's how they found the body in one of the cases from our hometown. They couldn't find it. The murderer kept saying it's here. And it wasn't where he said, but it was so many feet over. And they pulled, was he from the animal farm?
The Body Farm. So there's a place in Tennessee called the Body Farm. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
It's fascinating. You can read books about it. It's a true place. And it's a place where they lay out actual bodies all over the property. And they study decomposition out in the elements.
Right.
So it is an actual body farm. And that's what they do is they study the bugs that come and the stages that those different bugs come in from decomposition and what snow does to a body, what rain, sun, what halfway burying a body does. And it's fascinating. It's a real place. And they called the guy from Tennessee that started the body farm. And they had him come to talk to the detective in our hometown to say, this is what you need to do. You need to go to your local college. You need to get a botany professor and tell him he needs to look at the growth because the growth was disturbed. And so even after 2 years, there's going to be a stunted growth among the plants. And you're going to have to get down there on eye level, but you'll find it. And that's exactly how they were able to find it.
Isn't that fascinating?
It really is
amazing.
Yeah. And then we've got a genealogist over here. Her name is Cece Moore, and she is doing the most incredible, it's almost like reverse genealogy where she can, if you, let's say you decide to do one of the DNA tests and put it online, your results online to see if you can connect with family. A lot of cases have been solved that way because a family member of a killer has put their DNA results out there and matched up to something, and the scientists will come in and they'll do the genealogy for this killer based on the DNA results. And they're like, oh my God, the killer is in this family. And they solve it that way. Fascinating.
Yeah. And they'll do that like after 50 some years of an unsolved case. And, now
cases are getting solved left and right over here with that.
And now when you're arrested, you have to, they make you give your DNA when you're arrested for a crime. So they've really built this database that's just enormous and still growing, unfortunately, because we have so many criminals.
There's so many.
Yeah.
So it's scary just to go outside.
Yeah.
That's why I like to be in my happy spot, which is in my kitchen and I bake. And oftentimes Karen will call, we live in the same building, a couple of floors apart from each other. And she'll call and say, you got anything up there to eat? I'm like,
I'll text and say, I know you're baking up there. What do you have?
Just pull chocolate chip cookies out of the oven. She's
I'm on the way.
Well, people don't need to go outside. They've got this podcast. So there you go. So.
That's right. You can stay at home and get your dose of horrible people without ever setting foot outside.
Exactly.
Could I just say as well, I feel like for the last 2 minutes, the serial killers that are listening to this have just gone, right, don't bury bodies under plants. Don't submit to ancestry DNA.
I let my whole family know. I got my DNA test done, and I said to all of them, "You better watch out because I'm uploading it online, and if there's a killer amongst us, you're going down."
But that is a good point. Now, and a lot of it is in TV shows, which I'm sure is a little bit exaggerated. But then there are the true life programs that I watch, and it is like you said, the crimes of passions and things like that. You can appreciate they're going to get caught because there's no thought there. It's just in the heat at the moment. But
they're really stupid.
Yeah. But then the people that are actually trying to get into the mind of the police and say, right, how can I? They're almost well, they are more twisted, but there's always something they're not going to think of, or that they don't know about, or something that's going to happen at the scene, like you said about the plants or whatever. I mean, you can't,
we can't think of everything. And I think the thing that fascinates me is that science has caught up with all these dumbbells. So, when you committed a crime in the 70s, you thought, oh, I'll get away with this. You had no idea in 2022, they're going to come knocking at your door because Aunt Mabel did her DNA test and put it online.
We're loading our prisons up with 70 and 80-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so they come and get you.
Yep.
Yeah. They come and get you. And I love it. I just think that to me is, that's when the good guy really does win and the bad guy's going down.
Right.
Well, no, you're going to have to forgive me because I know that I've seen the story somewhere and I can't, there's a lot of serial killers that are American that we see in popular culture here. But who was the one who was caught in the last few years? He's about 80 odd now. And didn't the police catch him because
the Green River Killer.
That's yeah. Because we saw stories about how the police had taken DNA samples like discreetly and then matched them up to what they'd had from the time. And again, it's like what you'd said. You've got like 80-year-old guys going away all of a sudden for murders that were committed 30 years ago.
Sorry about your luck, buddy.
I don't cross them at all. I'm thinking, you know what? You escaped and you lived your life that you did not deserve to live for all these years. Bye-bye. See you later.
Did you say you had a food-based crime that you were going to...
We do. Okay, I'm going to... Excuse me, please. I need another spot of tea.
Oh, my Lord.
Well, these are very small teacups. Who can drink a Bloody Mary out of this little thing?
They've bought booze in a teapot. They've bought biscuits, English biscuits. They've bought the anthem, and now they've bought a food-based crime. I mean, they're upstaging us on our podcast.
Can I just ask as well? Do you know where you've bought like the English biscuits, like your bourbons and that sort of thing? Are they expensive?
No, I didn't find them to be outrageously expensive.
She didn't ask me to pay for half, so it must not have been.
Because we have like American sections in our supermarkets, don't we? But everything is extortionately expensive. Like we were talking about like a box of Twinkies, and that works out at probably like £6 or £7, and that's probably like what, $10.
We're sending them a case of Twinkies.
Yeah, listen, we will send you Milk Duds.
Yeah, we need. Oh, Milk Duds! I love the Milk Duds. Oh my word, I love them so much.
I can't eat those; they make me drool. It's like too much sticky stuff at one time, and I drool, and I'm not allowed to eat them. So I'll send you mine.
Yeah,
we'll send you Milk Duds, and
these are very good biscuits that I made. I made a delightful biscuit. I'm not dunking it though in my Bloody Mary. No. That's where I'm going to draw the line.
So I came up with, I didn't want anything gory because I didn't want your listeners to be completely undone by the Americans drinking Bloody Marys out of the teapot, singing to the Queen. So I looked into the Great Maple Syrup Heist. Y'all ever heard of that? It happened in 2011 and 2012 in Quebec.
That's just quite recent.
Oh, Canada.
These two are great, aren't they, Lou?
It's amazing.
Unfortunately, we wanted to be singers in our past life, but it didn't work out.
I don't know why.
I don't either.
You know what? This may be the beginning of something special.
I think this is a new podcast.
Elton John, if you're listening, here we go. Is he alive?
Yes. I'm so sorry.
You need a TV show. You need a TV show. This is, if anyone's watching, you need a TV show.
If you think you're the first person that ever told us that, are you kidding me?
We've got to make it happen. We've got to make it happen. We'll be your British correspondents. There you go.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
All right, so let me tell you about this heist. This doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but it was huge. I'm surprised you didn't hear about it in 2011 and 2012.
What were you doing with your life?
First off, are you aware that Quebec makes 72% of the world's syrup?
Wow.
I had no idea.
72%. And are you aware that syrup is valued at just over $1,300 a barrel?
What?
That's a lot.
A barrel. Crude oil right now in 2022 is a little over $106 a barrel.
Wait a minute. Are we talking the same barrel size?
Yes.
We need to start stocking maple syrup. We don't have
it's just in the wrong game. It's like liquid gold, isn't it?
So I guess over there in Canada, they've got this whole big council of people that oversees the the quality of syrup.
Oh.
You're very crumbly. You're very crumbly.
It's just not crumbly.
That's proper British as well, because what you do is you have to lift your t-shirt and make sure you get all the crumbs from the t-shirt. Honestly, that's just what you do.
Over here. That's Mardi Gras here. It's how you get the
walk over to the kitchen sink and just shake your shirt over it.
We'll not be lifting any shirts.
No, we're not lifting shirts.
Okay, back to the heist. At some point during the summer of 2012, there was an inspector. Like, they have these huge warehouses of all of this syrup. People get their syrup and they put it in barrels and it goes to this place. And then inspectors come in to make sure it's the right quality of syrup for them to sell. So this inspector goes into this warehouse and he's climbing up to test these barrels and he almost loses his balance. Well, you can imagine how much a barrel of syrup must weigh. It's heavy. It's thick and sticky and heavy. Yeah. So probably 600 pounds worth of syrup. He should have been steady. He shouldn't have been wobbly. Yeah. So he starts opening the barrels up and he finds some of them are empty and the others are filled with water.
Oh, wow.
Water. Somebody has stolen
water.
500 and what
are you say? Water. Oh, Lord.
Somebody had stolen 540,000 gallons of syrup.
How many barrels is that?
And how'd you steal syrup?
Hang on a minute.
Quite sticky, right?
Right. I'm hoping that when they reported this in the papers, if they didn't go with the headline "Sticky Bandits," I don't know that if they didn't have Sticky Bandits on the newspaper somewhere, that missed a trick.
I was thinking sticky situation.
And sticky situation.
Yeah, that's it. Sticky situation has to be.
So, as you can imagine, back in 2011 and 2012, for whatever reason, the Canadians didn't have any security cameras in their facilities where they housed this very important product.
Oh, Canada.
I think that's where it comes from.
I think
so. So they called in the Canadian Mounties.
Oh, the mounted police. Here we come.
Oh, I was going to tell you the street value. I'm going to tell you the street value of 540,000 gallons.
Please do.
Street value is $13.4 million. Good Lord.
You got a shady character on the corner of the street at night, right? Have you got my stuff? What? No, not the heroin, the maple syrup.
Who knew? I had no idea.
I didn't either.
That it was so valuable. It turns out what we have on our shelves over here, that Mrs. Butterworth's.
Oh, that's not syrup.
It's not syrup. It's like 0% syrup. We're not getting syrup in our syrup in the States.
No, we don't put syrup in our syrup here. We don't. We get chemicals.
That's right.
I've now got image. Do you remember in every crime show of like the 70s, 80s when they found like drugs, they would have to put their finger in it and rub it on their teeth? I've now got image of the police finding this syrup somewhere and rubbing it on.
I'll taste it.
Yeah, that's real syrup.
That's right. The Royal Mounties, the Quebec Police, and they even called in the U.S. Customs folks to help them try and figure out where the heck.
Oh, Lord have mercy. You have sworn.
But we're explicit. It's fine. We tag ourselves as explicit. Don't worry. Fill your boots.
Oh, thank goodness. Well, if you didn't before, you will today.
So there's this big mystery of where the syrup went, because it's not easy just to walk off with
where do you put that?
540,000 gallons.
That's not something you can hide up under your shirt. Just walk away with it.
But they didn't take the barrels. Yeah, they just took
the
syrup.
Oh yeah, because they left water.
I've just got a feeling that like 50 years time it's going to be like some Heisenberg situation where someone takes a shovel out to the middle of nowhere and digs up like 80,000 litres worth of maple syrup.
What would they put it in? I guess they fill up a pool with it.
Yeah. But what are you going to drive your big truck on?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. So they eventually were able to figure out what happened to the syrup by going out on the black market because these thieves were selling the syrup on the black market.
Which is why we don't have that in America today. Thanks, Canadians.
Black market?
No, because they took the syrup and it was on the black market and Americans couldn't buy it. And then they were like, fine, we'll just make our own with some chemicals and sugar.
Oh, we have it here.
Oh, I know. I've had Trader Joe's
But
has it.
if you want to pay $15 a bottle for
Which
syrup,
which I have.
that's
Because
just
it had
silly.
bourbon in it.
Yeah.
I bought some bourbon syrup and that was top dollar and I didn't care.
Oh my Lord. Okay, so it turns out they did find it was a gang of men and they would sneak to the facility and use these long tubes and siphon the gallons of syrup out into a gasoline truck.
Oh, God.
Petrol.
Petrol.
That's it. Yeah,
that's the one.
Yes. And they caught 4 of them.
There's still some on the land?
Yes, there's still some on the land, but the
Whoa,
biggest
that's me and you, baby. We're solving this.
But in March of this year, the Canadian Supreme Court ordered the convicted ringleader to pay a fine of 9 million Canadian dollars, which is 7.2 million American
Oh, they
dollars.
should just give him the firing squad.
Oh God, yes. We have a convict. We have a convict here who's on death row, and we're out of the mix for the lethal injection. We can't get those chemicals in because it's a supply chain issue over here.
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Wow.
So he got to choose, do you want electric chair or firing squad? So we're going to kill you anyway. We're not going to stage your execution. We're still going to kill you, but now you get to choose.
You get a choice.
No more lethal injection.
Here's the brochure. Have a look.
He chose the firing squad. And where are they going to do this? I don't even know. I'm going to have to find out where they're
I don't
doing it.
know. There's a firing squad place at the prison.
Maybe they'll do it like at the Citadel.
No.
Like on the soccer field.
No.
I'd buy a ticket for that.
Actually, on Firing Squad, I'm sure, I don't know if it's one of these like sort of urban legends, but a lot of them are filled with blanks because they don't want the person to know who's killed them. Is that true then?
One person has the real shot and everybody else has blanks, but nobody knows.
Right,
Because they don't want that person to feel guilty.
Yeah. For being part of a firing squad.
Well, can you imagine a serial killer would volunteer for that job?
Well, yeah,
like,
actually,
I'll do the firing squad every time. And then they'll just get their jollies.
So anyway, this main ringleader dude that's paid $7.9 million, he only got 8 years in prison. That's it. To take that much syrup, they didn't get any of the syrup back.
I mean, I'm just going to say, oh, Canada.
He's getting a sweet deal. 8 years.
Sweet deal?
That's the book.
Can I just say as well, I'd love to see the statistic on this. Did you say 2011 it was?
Yes.
I love how there's probably a statistic that's like between 2011 and 2016, 90% of Canadian pancakes had stolen syrup on them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Illegal black market syrup.
Do you know what I was thinking there, Lou? They were saying they should have given him the firing squad, whereas we have murderers and stuff over here that get less than 8 years. Do you know what I mean? So they want to give a syrup stealer.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah, we've done some crimes over there in England. You did one.
I've done a couple of really fun ones.
What was that one? The
Sisters.
Hold on, Anne. When you said she's done a couple of crimes over in England, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, they send the queen over here.
I didn't mean to let that slip out.
I'll put the phone down then. I was literally on the phone to the constabulary.
Hello, Scotland Yard. Your perpetrator. There's that alcohol.
It's kicked in right now. Now we can press record now.
Oh God!
Oh my God! Well, that's all I have to say about the great.
I think it's actually made me love Canada. That one of the biggest crimes there is about maple syrup gone stealing, and like the ringleader of a gang.
I'm on it.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's made me love Canada now.
I'm just more surprised at how expensive syrup is, because to me, I'm just like, you know what? And the thing is as well, like comparatively to stealing gold or diamonds, probably going to get more prison time for that than stealing syrup. But when you first said it, I was just like, is this like a rival syrup manufacturer that's stolen? It's like corporate espionage or something like that. That's what I immediately thought, because it's all still gone. So was it just another syrup company stealing syrup to sell as their own?
No,
evidently not.
They were just selling. They were
market.
stealing it and selling it on the black market.
All I had in my head was, how did they take it? I was thinking, like, in Shawshank Redemption, were they putting it in their pockets as they were leaving, so you get like a spoonful a day?
No, it went into a petrol truck, but
they probably had
cleaned that out real good before they used it.
Did they like bottle it up and put labels on it and that sort of thing? That'd be amazing. What an operation!
But nobody's going to stop that truck because it says flammable, stay away 500 feet. And they're like, well, we can't get near that.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah, that was brilliant.
That's that's a really interesting one. I'm going to have to look that up now.
Oh, you're going to love it.
Curious minds. And that's not a crime that's going to keep you up at night.
Yeah, that's actually quite wholesome, to be fair.
Yeah,
I don't mind that one.
I tried to find something that would not. There were some with people putting arsenic in cheesecakes and serving it at dinner parties.
Well, I thought you were going to say, when you said they opened up the barrels, I thought you were going to say they found people in their bodies. That's what I thought you said, where the mind goes. I've listened to your podcast.
Right. We did cover one murder where the lady was in a barrel.
Yeah, and you covered the guy in Canada that was putting the body parts in the flower pots.
Yes.
He was a horticulturist. He would do flower pots for people, landscaping and stuff. And he was in their very expensive pots. He was putting the body parts of the people he had killed.
So they were doing all of this searching for the bodies, they were having to dig up all these expensive pots of flowers, and they were finding fingers and toes and feet in the bottom of these pots.
You're out there one Sunday morning watering your plant, and all of a sudden 5 toes appear. You're like, what?
Bloody hell.
In terms of like the exposure as well that you get, so for instance, I think that here we have a lot of exposure to American like criminality, serial killers, that sort of thing, because I think we see a lot of film, TV shows that are all based. Do you get anything that's about British killers, or do you get any instances of British crime that's particularly publicised in America, or is it more so?
We've covered some British crime. We've definitely covered some stuff over in the UK. There was one that I covered that was in Ireland, that was in Dublin on St. Patrick's Day, which was hysterical because it was like an alcohol-fueled murder. It was crazy.
Would be.
That was the Scissor Sisters. No, there was a Ripper guy that you did.
I did a Ripper guy.
He was like short or something. Was there something with his stature? I thought.
Was the Scissor Sisters the one where they cut the guy up in like the bath because he'd beaten? Did he try and attack both of the women? Yeah. Oh, that was horrific what they did. Yeah.
The mom and he got into an argument with one of the sisters, and they were all together. They'd been drinking all day, and they killed him. And then the mom made them chop him up in the bathtub, and they put him. The first thing they did was they put part of his body in they sunk it in a channel. I don't know what you call it over there. A channel. Like water. Yeah. And it came floating up, and one of the guys that he knew recognized his sock.
Hey, that's my mate's sock.
Yeah, but you know what? They had put his Willie somewhere else. They never could find the Willie.
We're not talking about Willie.
I said Willie. But listen, if we can talk about a turkey Twizzler, we can talk about a Willie.
No, turkey, that's a genuine thing. A turkey. It's a part turkey, part pork fat.
Anyway, they took his head in a duffel bag, and they were going to bury it somewhere in a field, but they went shopping first. They were carrying around a duffel bag with a head in it because they needed to go shopping first at some open air place where they bought jewelry. It wasn't like groceries. They weren't in need of groceries. They bought jewelry. And then they took him out to a field and buried him. And then one of the sisters lost her mind and went out and dug him up, put him in her son's book bag. I mean, talk about mother of the year. And then took him to another place and couldn't get him buried all the way. So she was trying to chisel his head apart with the whole thing just went awry. the whole thing. They just did not do a good job.
No.
I think in the lead up, there was like lots of drugs and
out.
stuff involved as well.
Yeah,
There were some drugs.
Yeah,
there was loads of alcohol.
It's just a family night party on St. Patrick's Day.
I was like, this is how they do it in Dublin. I had no idea.
So we've taken their murders are a little crazy. We've taken them off our list of places we'd like to go.
Yeah. See, and we're trying not to do a lot of British ones because if we find too many that are disturbing, we won't come over there.
I think the thing is over here, the disturbing ones stand out because we tend not to have too many of them, really. I think.
Oh, way to brag, Dan.
Yeah.
You have rippers.
Yeah, y'all have rippers.
Yeah, there's a lot of rippers. Yorkshire Ripper, Jack the Ripper.
I covered the Yorkshire Ripper.
Yeah.
Yes, because he actually came over to America for a while. Yes, and he stayed in that haunted hotel.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so he was ripping over there and then came ripping over here.
That's not okay.
No, you keep your rippers to yourselves.
Really, in terms of true crimes, recently, in terms of ones that would be like featured like that, we had a doctor a few years ago, didn't he? He was found convicted of killing a load of his patients.
Harold Shipman.
Wow. Harold Shipman, yeah.
That was...
Did we know? He's in our serial killer book.
For my birthday, my children gave me an encyclopedia of serial killers.
I was just reading about him the other day.
And Anne's been just like reading it. She won't watch it on TV, but she'll flip through that encyclopedia.
But he holds the record for the most killings.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, because I think he's actually, confirmed was about 200, but it's rumored to be way more than that. But I think it was older patients.
Yeah.
And he was basically supervising their care, and he'd basically bring them to the end of their lives. And he got away with it because he was a doctor. Yeah. Yeah, he would.
That's rude.
And in actual fact,
money as a doctor.
Yeah, I actually think that's the reason that he got caught, was because he was doing that. Because otherwise there would have been no proper link, because he was overseeing the care of all of these patients. Really scary stuff, to be fair.
That is really scary. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like the medical. I don't like to do the nurses.
Now we're not going to see any doctors in England.
No. If I get sick, I'm just dying on my own.
Right.
And what was the other one, Lou? Probably really was Fred and Rose West.
Oh, yeah. Fred and Rose West was, they were...
husband and wife, weren't they?
Yeah, husband and wife. And they basically just murdered children. It was. I think there was 12 or 13 that were confirmed, I believe. Some of them buried like in the garden. I'm
writing their name down to look them up.
If you look at Rose West as well, I actually think that during her trial, she tried to claim a mistrial because their case was reported so heavily in the media that everybody already knew who she was. So it didn't matter what jury she sat in front of. Not that she wasn't going to get convicted anyway, but
we've got another guest on the show.
In on this. He's tired
we've got another guest on the show. He's going to eat the biscuits.
Yeah, this is the bane of my existence right here. You better get out of my English biscuits, buddy. This is Anne's dog Trout, and he makes an appearance on every single podcast because he cannot be quiet.
I thought I did hear something earlier. I was going to say, let him on.
If you give him a custard cream, he's going to be barking in English.
I'm giving him a ginger nut.
Oh, look, you like that? Look, he's got.
Wait, maybe he's got a tummy ache and needs a digestive.
I'm not going to look at digestives the same now. I'm not going to. But actually, back on the food. I know. I forgot there's a theme. Yeah, no. But I've made a note here because I was looking through like your episodes, and obviously there are too many to list them all. But you've made some fantastic things right now. You've made double layer chocolate chip cake, lemon lavender sable cookies, red velvet cupcake, apple pie tacos. This one stood out for me, and I want to know what it is. What are whoopie pies?
Whoopie pie.
Whoopie pie.
Oh, gosh, how do you explain that?
Well, it's basically it's a combination cookie cake that you make two of them, and then you do a cream filling that it goes into the middle of it, and you put them together, and they call those a whoopie pie.
Okay, it just sounded really fun.
Yeah,
I'm looking them up, and they look amazing. To be fair,
yeah, they are so good. They are so good.
But
and
it's
Anne did a good job.
Y'all were talking about the marshmallow in a jar.
Oh yeah.
They call it fluff.
Yeah,
it's that and lard or Crisco
shortening.
Oh, okay, yes, yeah.
and a little bit of extra sugar because, marshmallows aren't sweet enough for us. You mix that into a cream, and that goes into in between the two cookies. And the cookies can be chocolate or
chocolate chip, vanilla,
anything.
Whatever flavor. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
wow.
really fun.
See, we said it in the episode. I love my food. I really love my food. I just don't get, the fluff. I don't get the whipped marshmallow. I kind of don't get it.
So my husband and my son love to mix that with peanut butter, and they call it a fluffernutter, and they put it on a sandwich, which I think that's ridiculous.
Wow.
I just think it's ridiculous. But we do use that stuff in baking a lot because we have some really special cupcakes that we make. The cream that goes in the middle of the chocolate cupcakes, we use that for that. So we've used it a couple times.
Oh yeah, we do.
So yeah. It comes in handy. I mean, if you need marshmallow cream, it's going to take a long time to mash all those marshmallows together. You just buy it already mashed. It's so much easier.
It would make you sick. The whoopie pies traditionally are not as sweet as a normal cupcake or a cookie.
Yeah, because the cake part is not overly sweet.
It's the filling
sweet that's
going to get you.
And if you made it for them, you could just do half the filling.
I don't even know. I'm trying. They couldn't even take a Pop-Tart.
I know. Y'all can't take a Pop-Tart, but let me tell you. I felt so bad when y'all said Pop-Tarts didn't make it over there until the 90s.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, those poor children. That's child abuse. I mean, who can live without that?
And then they didn't even like them.
And they didn't even like them?
No, like them, but they're just so sweet. I mean, they've got quite a bit of sugar in them, I think.
I love Pop-Tarts. We grew up eating Pop-Tarts, and I still love to sneak a Pop-Tart. I won't lie to you.
We get these weather events over here called hurricanes in South Carolina, where the wind will come blow you away and the rain will flood you out, and the snakes and the alligators will float down the road.
It's pretty intense.
And they tell you it's doom and gloom. You're going to die. Everybody has to leave, but you stay anyway.
Because there's nowhere to go.
Where are you going to go?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
So that's when we get our comfort foods in. So all the foods from our childhood, like the Pop-Tarts and the Ho-Hos and the...
Yeah, so my family started this thing called a snack wagon. And it's actually a wagon that we all go to the grocery store and we fill it up. Everybody gets 2 to 3 choices of their favorite snack food, but you got to be willing to share it. And it all goes into the snack wagon. And every morning we wheel the snack wagon out. And during the hurricane, we eat all the snack wagon food. And it's everything.
A lot of times you'll lose the power.
Yeah, you lose power and stuff.
You can't drive, around and stuff. So you have to hunker down in your house. So they tell you to get your emergency supply kit.
And that's Pop-Tarts.
So Pop-Tarts, fresh potato chips, but they call them crisps.
Yeah, crisps over there. But all sorts of different potato chips. And
we don't eat the pork rinds. That's not what we do. Not.
They do. Here in South Carolina, you can you go to a bar and they serve them with pimento cheese, which is a very Southern thing.
Okay, yeah.
And they do pork rinds, but I don't believe in those. That's gross.
Why are you going to go to a restaurant and pay $10 for fried pork skin
when you can get a ginormous bag for $1?
$3. Can I just say as well? I've always thought they're grim. I thought they're awful. I've never liked them.
They're so grim.
Yeah,
yes,
grim.
We're putting that in our dictionary.
We're going to start using that word now.
If there's a pork scratching supply listening, I like them, so send them over just to me. Right? I'll take them.
You like them? Damn.
No, I haven't had them probably for about 20 years. But I said in the podcast, that episode, they are the ones that you eat if you've had a couple of drinks. You wouldn't go out your way and have them, but if you're at a pub with a couple of pints, it's natural to order them and eat them.
I don't think it's natural to order them, but I would eat it on a dare if I had enough booze in me.
I would not. I'm not eating pork skin.
If they give me money and dare me to do it, then I'm probably going to do it.
Right, Lou, I've got a couple of pounds in my pocket. You've got some money, right? You heard it here, everyone.
Why? I put new batteries
I
in
have new
yours.
batteries. Anne has put new batteries in my mic. I was dying for a minute there, so I think I'm back. But
Okay, yeah, no, I think you're fine.
don't worry. I know I have a big booming voice, so I should have been a town crier in my. I probably was in my past life, and that's why I don't have an inside voice. So
We actually still have a town crier, I think, here, don't we?
Yeah, in where you live, yeah.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, he walks around in like a big
Where
like.
do you have that?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
I think he does advertising more, or he was for a couple of the stores.
Yeah,
in town
businesses near us. Yeah, he'd just walk around with like a gigantic bell in this huge like blue
Oh
coat.
yay!
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. There's a sale on at this shop here, and you'd be like, yeah, all right, thanks. Didn't really need to hear that from you screaming down the road.
Get out of here! How much do they get paid? Could I make a living doing that?
Well,
That'd be unnatural.
I haven't seen him since pandemic began, so I don't know if he's retired and the vacancy's available.
Another
So
job lost to the pandemic.
yeah, I mean, it's because no shops were open. He didn't have any sales to advertise.
That's grim. That's quite grim.
That is grim.
So, what's your views? Have you had much in the way of what we would call English food, or what's your perception or views on it?
Oh, well, we did make a Victoria sponge.
Yeah, that's one of the first things that I made. I made a Victoria sponge and I knocked it out of the park.
It's delightful.
Delightful. Yes. And you made a princess cake.
I did make one of those freaking princess cakes.
So Anne and I had started a tradition because we're sisters and we've known each other all of our lives. So we got to a point where, I mean, it was really because we were broke more than anything, but we decided not to give each other birthday gifts anymore, but we would be in charge of the birthday dessert because that's a big deal over here in the States. When you have a birthday, you have to have a birthday cake.
And we're not talking jelly or Jello. That's not dessert.
None of that's proper. Anne had asked me for the Victoria sponge. When we started the podcast that year, she was like, "Oh, because her birthday's in January." And I had already made the Victoria sponge, so we knew it was successful. So I did it again for her birthday. It was very dainty and very delightful, not grim at all. And then for my birthday in March, I had watched the British baking show and I ordered a princess cake.
There are like 47 steps to that cake. Oh my God.
One of which is making your own raspberry jam.
Raspberry jam, and then your marzipan. And then you have to color the marzipan.
But I got to tell you, she knocked it out of the park. And you're welcome for me pushing you out of your comfort zone.
I was making that cake, and I was going to prove to you.
Yes, excuse me, please.
So, so was that the Great British Bake Off you mentioned? Is that what?
Yes,
I love that show.
Bake Off is brilliant.
I love that show. Must see TV.
I'm highly attracted to Paul Hollywood.
Those eyes. How could you not?
Oh my God! I bet even y'all are attracted to him. You can't help it. I mean, that's an attractive man.
It's funny how if you go back to the first series of that or season, if you go back to the first season of that, how different he's still the same, but yeah, you could tell he's read the press and believed his own hype as well. So he's kind of made himself a bit nicer as it's gone along. But
every year it's like, he's just polishing up more and more.
But on puddings, desserts, have you ever had the trifle that we mentioned? That Lou can't stand.
We do make trifles.
There are trifles here. They're not our favorites, but the difference is, I think Anne was telling me, y'all put what you call jelly in it, but it's really Jell-O for us. It's gelatin, not like the jelly that you put on toast.
Yeah. So we put the Jell-O. Yeah, we put the jelly as well, the gelatin that you mix with water and let it set. Yeah. What you're saying is jam for us. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we don't put the jelly crap in there.
No, we don't. No. That's not a part of our trifle.
No, I don't even think jam is. Is jam in there?
No.
It usually happens when you mess up a cake or you make a cake and it's too dry.
Yeah.
But you're not willing to throw it away and just call it.
But we'll put pudding, which is custard, I guess.
Yeah. So we'll do pudding, which is your custard, and we'll do like whipped cream.
Right.
Yeah.
And you chop up the cake, and we don't put fruit in it though.
No.
That's some people do. Well, that's gross.
And now a big thing is a cookie trifle.
A cookie salad.
A cookie salad, which is a trifle, but it's got all cookies in it.
It's all done with cookies, but I don't like anything called salad.
We do. We like.
I'm not really a salad girl, so
We really like a sticky toffee pudding.
Oh,
Yes,
amazing! Yeah,
Yeah.
elite
made
level
that.
dessert.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you?
I made that. I made a sticky toffee pudding cake
Right.
on the podcast and nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah, sticky
So
toffee pudding
good.
we like, but
Yeah.
it's hard for me, like with the other puddings that y'all have over there. When they describe it as a suet cake,
Yeah,
it's
that gets
very
okay.
hard for
Yeah.
me to
Yeah.
want to like that.
Yeah, and then there's like blood pudding.
What in the world are you doing with your blood sausages?
So that to me is more like something that a serial killer would eat.
Right.
Oh, no.
Like a Jeffrey
No.
Dahmer
We're gonna
kind of
go.
thing.
You're gonna go to Hannibal Lecter's house. We're
And
going
have
to get
blood
blood sausages and blood.
I don't
Black
think I want to
pudding,
say
black
to them
blood.
now, Lou. Because, you wouldn't have heard this yet because the episode with Brendan airs tomorrow, but we discussed this and I said
we
I
did,
like
yeah.
blood pudding. I like that.
Well,
Yeah,
first of all, we mentioned that we have a friend that's a psychic medium.
Yeah, that's right.
So are we.
So are we.
That's how we met her.
Tom.
We took that. We took a class on how to be psychic mediums, and that's how we met her. So,
I think
we're in your minds.
it's very hit or miss. That it's obviously served with like a full English breakfast, and it's very hit or
Wow.
miss because I feel like a full English breakfast. You know what a full English breakfast is?
No.
Yes,
So,
it's
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Tell her. But
a full English. It's like sausages with bacon, with beans, and then you've always got like a hash brown, which is
Eggs,
like
toast.
fried potato,
Yeah.
and then eggs, toast, usually some mushrooms, and then you've got what is like blood sausage in it as well. But I've always felt like somebody always doesn't like something from an English breakfast. So for me, it's like the blood sausage stuff.
Well,
Yeah, I
first of all,
just don't, I'm
anything
not
that's
fond
got-
of that.
I mean, I don't mind a Bloody Mary, but that's the only thing.
well, no,
I
but
have
we-
that I
we call
ingest
it-
with blood in it.
We
Yeah.
call it black pudding. We
Yeah,
don't call
black
it
pudding,
blood.
Yeah, we don't call it
Black
blood pudding.
pudding.
I feel like it's
Yeah.
because what it does, it takes away the meaning. So anybody
I think,
trying it just
though-
doesn't know what they're eating.
I think it's absolutely one of those foods, though, that I think if you put it down in front of someone, they would eat it. If you didn't say it's blood pudding, it's made of pig's blood or whatever, I think they would eat it and say, "Oh, I quite like it." But yeah, if you give it, if you were to give it an alternative fancy chef's name, you know,
I guess.
There's really,
like
really
foie gras.
blood in it. There's really, really blood in it.
And then what's up with your beans? Like, why you got a lot of beans? Like, y'all eat a lot of beans.
Yeah, but the thing is, beans are very unique because they can kind of be anything. So you can have them in the morning, beans on toast, or you can have beans on toast as like a quick dinner. It could be a lunch. You can kind of do a lot with beans. Beans
Goes
go
with
with
everything.
everything. Yeah. You could
Why
do
would you?
you could do
Why would
turkey
you do
Twizzlers
that?
and beans if you wanted to.
They look like a baked bean to me. What
Yeah,
was
baked
It
bean.
looks like a baked bean. It's almost like in a like a tomato
sauce.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
Tomato. But you could. That's the thing though, because it's almost like a sauce or a gravy. So, like I said, you could have it with an omelette. You could have it with on the full English. It gives it a little bit of a sauce. It's almost like adding
like
a
a
little.
gravy.
Yeah, kind of like a condiment on the side, but it's food, so it's included in it. It's like win-win.
But what kind of beans are they? Are they white beans? Are they what kind of beans? Is
What
it?
Lou? You'll have to find out because
You know what? I will find out because I actually couldn't
Because
tell
we
you. But
have lima beans, we have great northern beans, we have kidney beans, we have white beans. Like we got a lot of beans around here. Pick a bean. I don't know what
probably
bean.
is probably is a
navy
white.
bean.
Probably is a white bean, I think.
Y'all have to let us know because I'm very
Yeah.
curious about the beans.
they
I don't
are
like a bean.
they
I'm
are
not a
white
big fan of
beans,
beans.
There you go.
slightly smaller than cannellini beans. They are white
Okay.
beans.
I'm not a big bean
So they
fan.
might be like navy beans, like what we call navy beans.
So if I come over and order breakfast, do I have to get the beans or can I tell them no beans for me?
No,
First of all,
sometimes
don't
you could
order
like
the whole
substitute it out. Usually,
Yeah.
Okay.
if you
Okay.
wanted like an extra sausage instead of the beans, they might do that. So I do.
maybe
So for instance, I'd always get rid of my black pudding for something else, and
Oh,
sometimes I
fantastic.
substitute mushrooms as well because I'm not
Can
necessarily
I say
fond of
if
them.
you
Yeah.
put blood pudding on my plate, I will die?
But for
I
me,
am
it's
allergic.
the fried tomato or the mushrooms I'll sub.
Oh God, I forgot that we put tomato on it as well.
But
Do you know
fried
what
tomato.
Yeah,
I don't
I-
get that.
with-
Like, what do you mean by a fried tomato?
Literally just half
Literally.
a tomato
Yeah.
stuck on a grill, and then they just put it on the plate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We put breading on ours.
So
and
we
deep fry
have
'em.
green fried green tomatoes here in the South.
Delicious.
And they're delicious, but they're actually not ripe tomatoes. They're green tomatoes, and you slice them and you bread them like in breading that you would like bread a chicken nugget or something. And then you fry it, deep fry it. And you usually have like this really yummy remoulade sauce, whatever that is. But it's
have
like
to
a
say,
kind
though,
of a spice.
I want to go back to it though, just to make sure, in defence of the full English breakfast, it is the stuff of champions. You don't eat it regularly. It's a one-off treat, or if you go out or you go on holiday, you stay in a hotel,
or if you're drunk and you're hungover,
or you're drunk and you're hungover.
Okay.
And it's something you rarely do at home. You'll go to a cafe or something to have, because you won't necessarily buy all the constituent ingredients, but it is the stuff of champions. Go on, Lou.
Sorry, famously, Wetherspoons is like a chain of budget pub here, but they are open basically from 7 o'clock in the morning until probably like 1 o'clock in the evening. And Wetherspoons do like a full English for probably about £4. It's really cheap there. And like the sausages are about 2% meat, 98% magic.
And what I would say is, if you have a full English breakfast for breakfast, you won't need to eat anything for the rest of the day.
I would imagine so.
Very
it sounds like our brunch. Like our brunches are like big, and you don't.
Well,
eat
you
that
could go to
every
a
day.
Waffle House.
Yeah, you could go to a Waffle House here, and you could get
your
breakfast all
pubs
day.
close. What time do your pubs close at night?
Is it 11-ish?
Usually thereabouts. Right, yeah.
Ours close at 2.
Oh, wow.
Our last call is at 2 a.m. here.
Yeah, well, we got to get our drink on.
Yeah, I feel like to do that, you'd probably need more so a club as opposed to a pub, because I think it depends where you are. Some I've been in are about 1 o'clock, but usually the pubs are like the starting point to move on to a club later on. Because you get like all of your cheap drinking done in a Wetherspoons.
Pre-drink.
Yeah, it's like your pre-drink. And then what you do,
pre-gaming.
So a traditional like British night out, I would say, is that what you do is before you meet up with your mates, you pre-drink at home, and then you go to a pub to pre-drink, and then that's your pre-drinks before your actual club night where you just drink.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
and the club probably has very expensive drinks, so you might just drink one.
Yeah, exactly. So you're already seeing triple by the time you get to the club, and all the struggle is making sure that when the bouncer gets there and you give him his ID, you just need to make sure that he stood up straight, and you should be fine. That's
okay, that's good. That's good.
But I want to actually,
sounds
Karen,
like a little much for me. I'm probably not going to make it past. I don't know.
The pregame,
the one at home.
But Karen, I want to go back to something you said actually a little while ago. Now, I've only been to the States a few times, but I love eating over there, right? And there was once, cause it's a comment you made about salad, not liking anything with salad. And on the first trip, I think one of the first trips I had there, about halfway into the holiday, I thought, do you know what? I've just eaten too much, because, we mentioned with Brenda last week, the portion sizes are huge and there's just so much food. And I thought, no, I've got to try be good for a little bit, because I'm worried I'm going to get home and not fit into any clothes. So went into a place, and I can't remember what it was, but I said, it was a salad something. I said, you know what? It's lunch. I'll have a salad, please. Comes out, this thing was huge. It had bacon in it, it had cheese in it, it had nuts in it, it had, I think, bits of steak in it, and it was actually worse than probably the burger my other half had. It was
it's crazy how they can take a salad that's supposed to be healthy and just put all this crap in it, and it makes it so much unhealthy.
I mean, I loved it.
Dressing the ranch all over it.
The ranch.
So bad for you, and that's the way Americans do salad.
I loved it. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it was great. Yeah.
You thought you were going to order a salad; it was going to be a light meal.
Yeah.
No, we don't do that here. No, we don't do that here.
No. Now we've got these things called small plates you can get. It's just like a half an appetizer size.
Yeah, we do have small plates,
which is probably a regular size plate.
I was going to say.
I was saying this morning when we were making our proper British tea. What do they call biscuits? Oh, sorry, it's the Bloody Marys. I'm not thinking well. Anyway, we were saying if we went over to England for a couple of weeks, we'd probably drop some weight, because y'all don't eat half the sugar that we eat. Y'all don't eat half the stuff, and we don't even like half the stuff that you serve, so we wouldn't even eat most of it. We probably wouldn't even get 3 meals in a day.
What is your take on ice over there? Do we like ice or no ice?
I don't think y'all do ice, do you?
Oh yeah, I guess it depends on what you're doing, really. I feel like what in terms of alcohol or just drinks generally.
Like if I wanted to get a glass of water,
with ice in it, because
Can I
we
get
like
some
it cold.
Yeah. That would be an option. I think that would be an option.
or a Coke. Can I get a Coca-Cola?
Can we get a
there?
soda? What's it called? A soda pop? A soda pop?
I don't know.
Yeah. So I feel like Coke would be served, but I always ask for no ice because obviously here we don't get free refills. So if you ask for ice, you just get less Coke. So I just say
That's
no
true.
ice because I get more drink then.
We get free refills here, guys. Free refill. I mean, that's what we get. Unlimited, bottomless Coke. Yeah.
And on a
It's
similar
the
vein,
American way.
well, similar vein to what Lou was alluding to there, you also get much smaller glasses here.
Yeah,
So
that's very
tend
true,
not
yeah.
to go for the ice
So we're
because
going to be dehydrated.
We're going to be very dehydrated.
We're going to be sugar withdrawals and dehydrated.
No, because
we're
the
gonna
irony
walk
is-
around going, please take us home. We're dehydrated and we need sugar.
Can I get green
the,
sugar?
the irony is if you come over here, you're far better off drinking alcohol because it'll be cheaper than soft drinks and you'll get more of it. That's the irony.
But your beer that you drink, I don't know what what do you call that?
A pint.
A pint. But what's in the pint? It's a pint of something.
I think you just order a pint and it's a beer. It's whatever beer.
Yeah, so it depends. Like you'd either have like lager or you'd have cider if you were feeling more fruity, or like stout. So like I like a Guinness, to be fair.
Oh, okay. And is
Yeah.
it warm? Y'all drink that warm?
They have that.
It depends how much of a man you are, really. If you're a proper man, you drink it
I'm not
warm.
much of a man there.
No, well, you'll get your ales or what's it, the IPAs, which are meant to be drunk warm. So they do have those
Yeah,
here. But no, if you go up to the bar, you get one of the draft beers or like
Yeah,
Liz said,
it's
the
got that
Guinness.
cold.
It's all cold.
It's going to be cold.
Yeah.
Okay, I was real worried about that.
No, there are
like-
certain ones which are meant to be drunk warm, but yeah, anything anything normal. If you go and get your regular kind of lager or ales or beers they've got there, it'll be cold.
And then if I were to go and order a bourbon, do y'all have that?
They do. Whether I don't know what selection they've got. Whether it'll be up to your standard, but
Probably not. I'm just worried. I need bourbon on the rocks, so I need some ice in my bourbon.
oh yeah, no, they'll do that, and we're getting a lot more choice of spirits now in bars, aren't we?
Yeah, like there was a really strange trend here as well. So like gin is a really big thing at the minute here. So like everybody drinks gin in all kinds of different flavors. You've got strawberry gin and raspberry gin and apple gin and all of that sort of thing. It was a bit of a
got
fad.
that going on with vodka here.
Yeah, we had the
you know?
vodka. Yeah, that was, I would probably say maybe like 5-6 years ago, where you had like cherry vodka and blueberry vodka and all of that sort of thing. It was a huge
cotton
fad.
candy vodka.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. I'm not much of vodka. I drink vodka in my Bloody Mary, but I don't drink vodka in many other things. Maybe a couple things.
It was like years ago. What the first they came out, they were called the Alco Pops, and they were. I think basically the reason for things like this is they are like seen as a gateway drink for children, and that's what they say. Because people that don't like the beers and people that don't like the spirits, it's like, hold on, we can hook them by putting a load of sugary sweet alcohol into a sugary sweet drink. And yeah, we had drinks, they were called like hooch. They were little bottles of lemon with it might have been vodka, I don't know. And they were seen as like, you're trying to basically get a generation of youngsters into alcohol that way. That's how it was seen.
Those are the ones that create the worst hangovers, though.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you just that sugary alcohol is
So
really,
bad.
It's so bad. But we all go through it. You got to live and learn.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You got to live and learn.
I mean, in the States as well, obviously drinking age is 21. Is that everywhere? Every state?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
it is now.
here it's 18, but I would say that like underage drinking culture is quite big here as well. So for instance, you're likely to go into shops and just not get asked for ID. So it wouldn't be uncommon on like a Saturday if you walked through town to see like a group of like 14-year-olds drinking like a bottle of cider in the middle. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that would probably be quite a common thing here, because I feel like drinking culture cottons on really, really young.
Oh, and can you drink in the streets there?
Yeah,
Well,
we
no.
can't drink.
Yeah, legally you're not supposed to, but you'd be hard pressed to really find a policeman that would stop you. To be honest, I feel like this is not working.
Here they would stop you. They would definitely stop
they
you.
wouldn't. Yeah, they wouldn't be fussed.
Even an adult, they would stop from doing that.
There
Oh,
are some
really?
places, if they've had trouble, they'll put a no alcohol zone. But again, it's like, the police really going to get too bothered with that? I don't think they would over here.
Or like I remember when I was at university. So again, like you start your pre-drinks before you even go to the first bar, and obviously you'd need a drink for the walk, wouldn't you? Because you need to stay warm, obviously. So and there always used to be a policeman stood at a particular corner, and when you got to him, he'd basically, because he didn't want you taking the glass and littering or like the plastic cup, he'd just sit there and make you drink it as fast as you could. So it almost kind of like became a game. So obviously he shouldn't have been doing that, but he was just like, I'd rather just let them get over it, not throw the glass on the floor, and then we can just get over it. So it was kind of just an accepted sacrifice.
Too funny.
I love it.
That's awesome. But before sporting events here, we have tailgating.
Yeah.
So that's when a lot of people, and they'll allow. So when a parking lot allows tailgating, there's a lot of drinking and a lot of crazy food, and like it's a huge celebration before the game even starts. You don't even know if your team lost or not, and you're already celebrating. It's crazy, but
people bring their grills and set them up.
Bring their grills. They bring porta potties, and I mean, we've just seen the craziest things. So and before concerts, some concerts we you tailgate before your concert. So, but those are like really controlled areas.
Yeah.
Because it's like in a parking lot. So,
well, we have so there are some places, for instance, in Memphis, Tennessee, there's certain times of the day where they close several streets. I think it's Beale Street. And you can walk from bar to bar with drinks.
Okay.
And I don't know if they do that in New Orleans or not, but there's certain times, like
I know on
starting
Bourbon
at
Street, you can.
It's like cocktail hour kind of thing. Yeah, that you can walk on Beale Street with open containers.
In Savannah, for their St. Patrick's Day parade, they close the streets and you can drink with open containers.
Yes.
So, in usual circumstances, would you get a fine from a police officer for that if you were drinking in the street? Straight up, there would be no argument about it at all.
No.
Oh wow.
And if you
they're going to write you a ticket, and then you have to show up for court, and then you can fight it in court, I guess.
Sometimes though, they'll let you off. They just make you pour it out.
Yeah, it just depends. If you're not being a nuisance, they'll just make you pour it out. But if they make you pour it out and then 10 minutes later they catch you again, they're probably going to have a problem with it.
Right. Okay.
Or if you are like completely out of your mind drunk, like Anne gets all the time.
What?
and she's walking down the street and she's like lifting that shirt and just causing a ruckus. They're probably going to give her a ticket.
You cheeky girl.
Lou, and I learnt yesterday though that even in the States you can't cross state lines with alcohol, can you?
Oh, really?
You're not supposed to, but and we would never.
No, of course not. Of course not. Let's just get that out there now. Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes. They've never done that.
We've never done this.
and also the thing that amazes me, and I'd forgotten about this, but is the amount of dry counties as well that you've got there, which is it's bizarre. It's bizarre to think about that. You kind of still have that.
Yeah.
Especially in the Bible Belt.
Yeah, in the South, in the Bible Belt, there's lots of dry counties, totally dry. Now, there are some counties that don't sell any alcohol on Sundays, but then there are some that are completely dry, like there's no alcohol at all. But you can go to the next county and buy your alcohol and take it home and drink it. So I guess they're in cahoots with the gas company, the petrol company, because you're spending gas money to go and buy it and then take it home. I don't know. I don't get it.
I thought you were saying they were filling the gas trucks up with the alcohol, like the maple syrup people.
That would be brilliant.
That would be brilliant. We should start that.
I'm not going to get involved in that.
You're not?
No.
You're so chicken.
I'm a law-abiding citizen.
And that's where your problem is. Stop.
Well, I think we should look at possibly starting to wrap this up now, actually. Because I could talk all night with you.
I miss you guys already, and I just got to know you.
I just want to say as well, actually, if you want just an idea of like how heavily ingrained, I would say that drinking is just really ingrained into British culture. I think it's just very standard. If you just
get that feeling, I get that feeling.
if you have a Google,
alcohol doesn't have an impact on you.
Yeah, y'all probably could drink us under the table.
I'm sure of it.
Yeah, that's because everybody here's been doing it since about 14. But if you have a Google of just like map of like pubs in the UK, it will give you like a Google map result where they've got like a red dot for everyone. And honestly, the entire UK is covered in dots to the point where you actually just can't see any land because there is that many pubs next to each other.
How do they make any money?
I
There's
don't
so
know.
many of them. How do they make any money?
Oh, because they're all full.
Yeah. And you go pub crawling. You go one to another, to another, to another.
That's true. I know. I was watching a show the other night. I guess it was Ted Lasso. I don't know what, because I get BritBox. I know you've never heard of that.
Oh, yeah. No,
We've seen BritBox. Yeah.
Okay, so I have BritBox, and so a lot of times when I'm watching a show, the pubs over there, they just make it seem like. Did you ever see that show Cheers?
I love Cheers. I love it.
Okay, so I feel like that every pub is like that. Like it's there's locals that go there every day and they all drink together and they all know each other's business and they all take care of each other. And that's what a pub is. And they're like, every town has multiple ones, but every pub has their own group of like local regular people and they all know you. Like you walk in and they go, "Hey, Dan, here's your pint." I mean, they already know what you want, and they're like, "How's the wife and kids?" And they're, "Lou, still not eating beans." I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just know you. Is it really like that? Because I really want to go there.
Yeah, I think it depends. So there are some pubs, for instance, where I live, like we've walked around and we've been in most of the pubs near me, to be fair. But there are a couple of them where I feel like I wouldn't go because I'm not a regular. And if you walked in, people would like look at you and think, who's that?
The music stops.
Yeah,
everyone looks at you.
Yeah, the DJ goes, and all of a sudden everyone turns around and you're like, what have I just walked into? Yeah, and there's some that are like that. Yeah, and then there's some that you can kind of walk casually in. So like a Wetherspoons, wherever you are, a Wetherspoons is for everyone. You can go in there. But if you see something and it's called like, anything arms is always like a local pub that's like anything that's got arms in it.
Like broken arms.
But the broken arms, yeah. But what I was saying, what Lou said was right about the culture in that, but here you go out to get drunk.
Yeah.
The aim isn't to enjoy drinking. You go out as a group and the aim is we're going to get drunk as quickly as we can. It's not we'll go out, we'll have a few drinks and do this. Yes, there are people after you finish work, you'll do that. You'll go have a meal, you'll have a couple of drinks, go home.
Okay.
As when you're in your younger days, it is about how quickly and what can we drink to get drunk as quickly as we can.
And that's how it is here too. Like college age kids, university age, whatever you want to call them. That's all about. That's what you do in college. You learn how much alcohol your body can take. That's really what you're there for. And if you live, they give you a piece of paper and say, "Get the hell out." And now you owe us $80,000. But good luck with your liver.
Yes. That you're not going to be able to do a job with. No.
That's what must be really sad because obviously, you go to college at 18, don't you?
Yes.
And obviously you don't get that period of be able to go to clubs and that sort of thing. Because I imagine most degrees are still only 3 years in the States as well.
They're 4, and I was on the 5-year plan because I was very social.
So you only get one good year of going out when you're at college then to actual bars.
I actually, when I was in college,
we get fake IDs over here.
Yeah, we all get fake IDs.
So, we've seen super bad McLovin.
Yeah. Yes. But I think we all get fake IDs. I mean, even my daughter, who
now I think, what if we do, we get them from China or somewhere?
Yeah, they got theirs from China, which is scary because they sent their pictures and all of their personal information to China. I'm like, guys, how dumb are y'all? You're in college.
Anything for a drink. Anything for a drink.
Listen, I figure they already have our information over there anyway.
So true. Yes, and they would send them back fake IDs, and that's how my daughter drank her way through college. She did not have any problems whatsoever getting her drink on. So,
I would say as well, there's a bit of a stereotype that even if you're 50, you get ID'd in the States. So is that really true? Like you will get ID'd kind of irrespective, or do people turn around and say, "No, you're old enough"?
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't
grocery. When you're at the supermarket, then you'll get ID'd if you're buying alcohol.
But like if I were to go to a bar right now, they would not ask me for my ID, and I would be very sad.
Yeah.
And like,
We go have an ABC store, liquor store.
The liquor store, when we go buy, like when Ann and I were out buying bourbon yesterday, we just happened to be out and bought some bourbon, and they didn't ask me for my ID, and I was very sad.
It was offensive.
It was very offensive.
Well, I think the worst experience I had here, I went to a supermarket with my girlfriend, and we walked out and we bought some ciders, some toffee apple ones. Amazing. Brilliant. Would definitely recommend. And then toffee apple cider. It's so amazing. Good. It's like the only way that I could explain it tastes like Christmas. I think. Yeah, it tastes like Christmas. Honestly, it's amazing.
We have to go. We're on the way right now. I'm packing.
I went to the counter, and the lady behind the checkout counter said, "Oh, can I see your ID?" To my girlfriend, and then she looked at me. She was like, "You're all right." And I thought, "Who do you think I've come out with? My daughter." What's going on here then? I was like, "Who do you think I'm buying her booze illegally?" And she's like,
I have to do it. Rude.
Because here you should be, basically they say that you should ID anyone that looks under 25. Yeah. So that means that she thought I was older than 25 and she was younger than 18.
Yeah.
I thought, wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. It's offensive. It's
but she must have been thrilled.
She was like, ha ha, this is my sugar daddy.
Oh, blimey.
But over there, it wouldn't be a sugar daddy because they don't like sugar. Right. This is my bean daddy.
Yeah. Right then. All right. Well, it's actually been a real pleasure. It's been a blast.
Is it midnight yet? Is it
midnight? No, it's 11:30. It's 11:30. It's not that bad. We're going to go out for our. No, we're back. We're cutting into our pre-drink time. That's all. But no. It's really, really fun having you on. And Lou, Karen, could you stand up just a little bit?
Stand up?
Yeah. Do you want to stand up? People at home won't see this listening, but look, you see, they've got merch. That's what we need. You see that?
Yeah.
This is my water bottle, and this side says, "This might be bourbon." And on the other side, it says, "Because murderers suck." And then it's got our logo.
See, this is what we need to do now. We need.
You really do.
Do you want to plug your socials and where people can hear you?
Yes. Well, we're on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Pandora. Wow. Bloody Marys right there. Pandora. We're on like the major podcaster, what the hell? Podchaser and Good Pods. Just find us. Google us. We'll pop up there.
Sugar Coated Murder Podcast. If you just do Sugar Coated Murder, some weird song will come up.
I know. And so we have the Echo Dot devices that we talk to, and she's got a certain name that I won't say, but you can even play us on there. And then we have social media. We're on Instagram, and that's we're at Sugar Coated Murder. On Twitter, we are at Sugar Murder because I think I was drinking that day, and that's all I could get out. And then we have
Facebook.
We have a regular Facebook page, which is Sugar Coated Murder Podcast. And then we have a Sugar Coated Murder fan page that you have to ask to join. But good news, we never have enough friends, and we've let anybody join.
And then we also have email. We love to get email from listeners and suggestions for murders we can research or recipes we can try. And our email address is murder.sugarcoated@gmail.com.
And you can also order our homemade vanilla, which is called Killa Vanilla. And you can do that just by emailing us.
I would suggest people look at your Instagram and Facebook, because then you can actually see what you've made as well. That's the thing. So I would recommend that. But it's awesome. Yeah. Check them out. It really is a great podcast. Now, Luke, before I hand over to you to wrap up, I'll read some of the reviews we've got, and ladies, there'll be some familiar names, I'm sure, to you here. This is on Good Pods, but what I'm doing, this is going to be from our competitive eating episode because of the way we've recorded. So we've got Kay from my favourite name podcast, Fuck My Work Life. She said, "Fucking brilliant episode. I have no idea how people eat that much." We got Yeti Yef has given us 5 stars. Kelly Madden, wow, this is crazy. I never understood competitive eating until I got fat. Now I think I could probably eat my weight in tater tots. Josh from Super Familiar with the Wilsons, 5 stars. Decaying with the Boys, 5. Chat Tsunami, Josh. Antonio from the Cultworthy, he says, now I want a hot dog. The Red Dove have given us 5. Shane from Shane and I. Jack Culbertson and Uncredible Cornelius, who I think we must have mentioned this. He's just posted 5 stars plus 275 oysters plus steak and coffee. So that must have been one of the challenges. So thanks to all those who've left that. So yeah, Lou.
We've still not had anyone say that we're shit yet.
Yeah, so
because you're not.
Oh, bless you. We'll read anything or any comments out. So
waiting for the day when Dan goes 1 star, would never listen again, annoying hosts. All right, it has been an absolute pleasure. It's been brilliant. And I'm going to sing us out, and I hope I still get this right because I'm great at fluffing my lines with this. We know there's many podcasts from which you can choose, but we thank you for listening to Casting Views.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nick. I'm the host of Nikolai's Kitchen, and I'm also the host of the annual Live Stream for the Cure. Live Stream for the Cure is a charity event where we raise money with content creators and podcast partners from around the world for the Cancer Research Institute, a wonderful nonprofit researching cancer immunotherapy, training the body's immune system to fight all forms of cancer. This is a mission and a future that I truly believe in. And myself and my team worked tirelessly over the past 5 years to raise over $50,000 for this cause. This year, we're aiming for our biggest single goal to date of $20,000, and we cannot do it without your help. Please join us for the event May 19th through the 21st, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern, for 45 hours of content from people all over the world. Together, we can bring hope for a future immune to cancer. The more eyes we reach, the more dollars we raise. Please help us in making this goal a reality. Together, we can make a difference.
This has been Sugar Coated Murder Podcast, a deliciously entertaining true crime podcast. Like what you heard? You can always explore past episodes by visiting sugarcoatedpod.com. Don't forget to like our Facebook fan page and share with friends. Thanks for listening to Sugar Coated Murder Podcast.